The Broader Edge, Candid Conversations that Envision a New Future. Enlightened World Network brings a brand new live show to Facebook and to YouTube called The Broader Edge. Today we meet these fabulous women, founder of Enlightened World Network, Dr. Ruth Anderson, and the hosts of The Broader Edge, Teri Angel, Sheila Cash, Mira Rubin, and Elisabeth Williams, to learn about the candid conversations they will be having that envision a new future. Are you afraid that life as we know it will never be the same? Explore with The Broader Edge the shifts in thoughts, beliefs, and actions we are being invited to consider individually and collectively as we step out onto the edge of evolution. Welcome everyone to Angel Heart Radio. I'm your host, Deb Goldberg, and it brings me great pleasure to be here with you today. And it's an honor to serve you in the highest way that I can by bringing you messages of divine love and blessings for your life. You are dearly loved and cherished. We have an awesome show for you tonight. We have 5 amazing ladies that I have the pleasure to connect with and work with many of them on Enlightened World Network. So I want to welcome all of you, Dr. Ruth Anderson and Teri Angel, Sheila Cash, Mira Rubin, and Elisabeth Williams. Thank you for being here with me.
Thank you.
It's a delight.
So I want to start with reading some of your bios, because the women that I have sitting with me here today do amazing things, and they're all unique, and they all have their own purpose in life that have brought them together to bring this show together. And if it wasn't for Dr. Ruth Anderson and Enlightened World Network, we might not be sitting here together, being able to use the platform of Enlightened World Network for this amazing show. So Dr. Ruth Anderson is an award-winning international best-selling author and founder of Enlightened World. She's retired after a satisfying and worthwhile career in special education and public school administration. Ruth embraced her second calling, that of an intuitive reader and spiritual counselor. After becoming Reverend of the Church of Inner Light, she was given a ministry to witness and participate in the healing of souls with and without bodies in the ethereal realm called Open Clinic. Ruth serves as a conduit for the spiritual divinity and shares their teachings in an authentic and open manner. Her overarching mission is to bring heaven to earth and help others know their spiritual divinity. Ruth is passionate about sharing her experiences with the spiritual divinity and divine healing beings, believing that light workers are often isolated and distracted from sharing their gifts. Ruth was inspired to create Enlightened World Online, and Enlightened World Network to serve to support light workers in building their professional visibility so they can get back to sharing their light working talents with the world at a time when we so desperately need it. So welcome, Ruth. It's fascinating. Oh, you're muted, sweetie.
My family wants to mute me, but I didn't mean to do it to myself here. Thank you, Deb. Thanks for having me here.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure. And I have the pleasure of working with you every day, and how you bring forth talent, light workers, to your platform, and then really hold them up, and with your own leadership of empowering people to step into their purpose and to help them keep rising. So I just think it's just awesome that you are here with us, because you know Teri and Mira and Shiela and Elisabeth put this group together, the Broader Edge, and then you gave them the ability to share their vision on your vision. So can you talk a little bit about that?
So Archangel Michael, probably about 3 years ago, was just, I would say he whispered, but those of you who work with Archangel Michael, he's usually louder than a whisper. He really encouraged me to create Enlightened World, which was to support light workers in getting their voice out into the world. And so I did create that in a couple of different formats. One is a website, one is Enlightened World Network, which is blossoming as we speak. And in so doing, I have had the beautiful pleasure of working with individual light workers. And when I say light worker, I mean somebody that brings divine light into the world. It's not necessarily a vocation or a career, but it's what you do, what you bring in. So I've had this amazing opportunity to work with individuals and encourage them in their spiritual growth and really walking into their soul's calling. And Enlightened World is a platform for them doing that. So whether they're writing articles or hosting a podcast or writing a book, Enlightened World is there to support that and encourage them and give them a safe community to kind of rumble around in and expand themselves in every direction. So it is such an honor to work with talented, excited people like the ones that I'm looking at here on the screen. It is absolutely my honor to do what I can to help them have a broader reach and to increase their professional visibility.
It's so beautiful. And you are everything that you say you want. Like, this is who you are. And I feel it every day in working with you. So, I know you might have to pop off a little early, but what I wanted to ask you is, there are so many services that Enlightened World Network offers, or Enlightened World Online. Can you just help us understand what some of those are, so other people that might have a group of people, such as like the Broader Edge, that are looking for a place or a platform to bring their vision to fruition, but there's so much more than that?
There is so much more than that. And when I work with a client, I sit down and we review what they're already doing, because so many folks that are in this line are already doing things. They might have a website up, they might be doing weekly podcasts, they might have already written books, they might be working with their own clients. So I really look with them at, what are you already bringing into the world? And then looking at that, is there anything we can tweak, anything we can add, somewhere that we can broaden what you're doing? And Archangel Michael, with every single one of these people, and Lord knows me included, there has been growth. And it seems to be part of the requirement that there is growth. So you don't come to Enlightened World unless you want to grow. If you do want to grow, I'll walk you through. I've sat with folks, we've gone through their websites and made suggestions. We've done different podcasts to bring them out into the world. Some folks, it's their very first podcast. So preparing them to speak. What do you wear? What's behind you? All of those aspects that go into creating a podcast. So for some folks, it's getting them lined up with somebody that can help them publish their book. For some, it's helping them write an article. What do you include in an article? There is a really interesting professional technical piece behind all of the ways that we help light workers promote themselves and increase their business. So part of it is technical, part of it's definitely professional, part of it's also emotional and spiritual. And who do you need to be? Who do you need to become to see yourself with this weekly podcast up? So it's taking the whole person, all of those aspects, and having the conversation. And surprisingly, I mean, one of the conversations was, okay, so you want to come across as this loving and nurturing light worker, but that means you can't be swearing at people online. So you need to bring your whole person to this, and it's transformation. It is truly spiritual transformation, doing the work with Enlightened World.
I totally agree. Yeah, it's been such a growth for myself, and what I like is that it's a safe place to grow. It's we can trust each other as we have our ups and downs, and just being our authentic self, just being us as we're growing through this transformation. So it is such a beautiful place to grow. I know I said that when I first met you in September on the Enlightened Women, Enlightened Youth Summit, I'm not the same person, and not at all. And I've watched everybody else not be the same person either. Everyone has transformed. So it is a beautiful space, and I invite everyone to please check out Enlightened World Online and Enlightened World Network. And so what we have here today is all these beautiful women from the Broader Edge of as one of the programs that is happening. So how about, I'm going to start with Sheila. Shiela Cash is the new human master coach, author of the #1 bestseller, Evolve Your Life and Success Breakthroughs with Jack Canfield. She is the CEO of Evolve Your Life, LLC, a company specializing in evolutionary consulting for adaptation of spiritual consciousness in the 21st century. She is an international teacher, speaker, and facilitator in the fields of human potential and evolutionary consciousness, and an ambassador of conscious evolution emerging from the personal mentorship of Barbara Marx Hubbard. Sheila's philosophy is that a long-standing epidemic amount of cultural conditioning of personal disempowerment has taken place at our physical, emotional, and spiritual levels, and it is time to embody a new paradigm of empowerment and wholeness starting at our cellular level. She has innovated dynamic, groundbreaking systems of practice and cellular consciousness and transformation at 5 levels based on leading edge science and epigenetics that brings radical new integration and personal healing. Sheila's guided meditations and gratitude infusions have been called poetry for your cells. Well, Sheila, that is amazing. That is amazing, and I love it, and I totally believe all of those things, and I guess somebody had to carry on the work of Barbara Marx Hubbard, and so I'm so glad that you're doing that. So can you tell us just a little bit about yourself and your vision for the Broader Edge, and what your experience will bring to this amazing show?
So, the processes that I have developed for consulting do go from the cellular consciousness, which is based on Bruce Lipton's original work. That our bodies really are listening to our minds. So it's about the mind-body integration. It sounds a little more complicated than it is. It's just really about getting back to that full multi-level integration, as well as sensory development. And my background leading up to this work and this show has been all about broadening perspectives. And that's where the new human comes in. And this is what my work with Barbara Marx Hubbard was all about. She had coined the term Homo Universalis, which again sounds like these sound like big words, but really the new human is just about who do we need to be in this age, in this rapidly evolving age where things are so different now than they have ever been before, especially lately. And so what kind of skills do we need? Because we all seem to be feeling like we need something more. We need to know a little more. We need to open up to more enlightenment, which is what, you know, your program and Enlightened World is all about. And so how do you do that? And what are the skills that need to be developed? My books and my work with Barbara have been all about conscious evolution. Again, sort of another big term. It's coming much more mainstream lately. It just means evolving consciously. It means rather than relying on the old conditioning of all the generations, which had promoted stability in the past, but the more conscious we become, the more we are able to create through our authenticity and through our desires, rather than creating from past conditioning. So what does all that mean? It means that we can, you know, it's just another way of saying, you know, we can create our lives and we can create our futures through, you know, through this mind-body integration. So my vision for the show is that it's about broader perspectives, you know, and we're called the Broader Edge, which you know, really sort of came out of our understanding that we don't want the hard edges. We don't want, you know, any barriers or blocks any longer, but how can we broaden that edge? How deep can we go? What are the new ideas? We are not wanting in this show moving forward to talk about things that, you know, everyone else is talking about. We want to take it much further. We want to really tap into our human potential and go into those deeper conversations and really see what emerges. There's so much for us to look forward to, and that's where we want to take the show.
That is beautifully said, and I think it's going to be really exciting to keep expanding our minds and raising our consciousness in different ways, not just what's in front of us, but looking all around us and into the future. So that sounds wonderful. I'm so happy that you're that I got to meet you today too, because I have not met you really before, and I'm so grateful for what you bring to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
It's a lot of there's so much wisdom here for everybody. And next, I have Elisabeth Williams. Elisabeth is the founder of AWE Partners, a social impact advisory firm that educates women on how to give, shop, and invest to support causes that they're passionate about. Her personal passion is the empowerment of women and children and how the rise of the divine feminine will lead to a better world for all. Liz created Impact from the Inside Out, the first ever online course that teaches women how to effectively engage in the social impact space. She's the author of The Gutsy Guide to Giving, Your Journey to Authentic Impact. Liz holds an MBA from the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University and has a BS in Finance from the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana. Wow, Liz. What an awesome purpose of bringing women together and helping them, allowing the divine feminine to come through. We're so used to playing in our masculine roles. And I know that I was for many years. And allowing the divine feminine to come through and then bringing the financial pieces in it. And it's just a beautiful purpose. Can you talk some more about that and what you bring to the broader edge in your vision.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, Deb, because clearly from my educational background, I came from the male-dominated left brain side of life, both in my education and then also working in the corporate world and in the business sector. I was in the banking for a number of years. But it never felt like a great fit for me. I always felt like there was a piece missing. And I think the piece that was missing was the feminine, or the divine feminine. So actually, at a point in my career, I decided to leave and ended up raising my children, staying home and raising my children. And what that did was that really reminded me of my feminine side, that it existed, that it could be nurtured, and that it was a really, really important piece of me. And so I knew that when my children were grown and I was coming back out into the world, into the work world, I wanted to merge the feminine and the masculine. I wanted to find more balance within myself and bring that out into the world. And so Awe Partners, it's actually called Awe Partners, is the result of that. And it is it's a social impact advisory firm that educates women on how to be most effective in the social impact space. So how they can give, shop, and invest around causes that they're passionate about. And it doesn't mean you have to have a lot of money to do that. It's just kind of a change in perspective and a recognition that with every dollar we give, spend, or invest, we can make an impact on the world, a positive impact. And so Awe Partners is about the sacred activism and inspired action. So actually taking your soul's purpose and taking that out into the world, create the better world that we know is possible. And so my interest in the rise in the divine feminine is because we know that if we support women around the globe, they will support their families, their communities, and the planet. And so an investment in women is an investment for all of us. And interestingly, the amount of funding that actually goes to causes around women and children is less than 2%. So it's really, really low. And so I'm working to create a new approach to giving toward women. It's the 7 pillars of the divine feminine. And it's a way that every woman can deep into her soul, determine where she is meant to serve, and then do that most effectively. And when we come together and serve under those 7 pillars as a community, we can address all of the issues that are out there, and we can affect a better world. And so that's my mission. And so through the broader edge, we came together, the 4 of us, with the hopes of creating initially a mastermind so that we could encourage each other in our work. But very quickly we determined that perhaps a podcast would be a great idea, because we wanted to share all of this knowledge and wisdom and learning that we were doing with others who are interested. And so that's how we came together. And my vision is that I hope that we inspire women and men all over the world to step up and into their magnificence, and then to take that out confidently into the world, and to know that you're not alone. We're all figuring it out as we go.
That sounds beautiful. So beautiful. And you know what I wanted to ask you? I don't know that everybody watching knows what you mean by divine feminine. So maybe you can just give a little bit of a description of how you describe it.
Well, how I describe it, what my realization is when I look at all of the work that's being done in the women's empowerment space around, and the pillars that have existed have been around health, education, economic empowerment, freedom from violence, and equality. So those are kind of the 5 pillars. If we address all of those, we can help women. But the 2 that are missing in what I see is reconnecting to Mother Earth, first of all, and then restoring the sacred feminine. So my belief is we can be on the ground doing all of these good things, but if we don't share with women their inherent worth, that they, regardless of where they are, their race, their culture, whether they live in poverty or wealth, Your inherent worth is critical. And so restoring the sacred feminine for every woman and every human being really, to me, is such a critical piece. And so I see that rise of the divine feminine that's happening, this rebalancing of the masculine and feminine energies, as critical to this. But if we don't recognize the power in it and we don't promote that, it'll never come to fruition in the way that it wants to and can. So that's my view. I think there are many views of what the divine feminine can be, but that's where I see it most relevant in my work.
Okay. No, that's a beautiful description. I think it's important because we all kind of define words differently. In fact, Sheila, I was actually thinking, how do you describe consciousness?
Consciousness is, again, in my opinion, I love the way that Elisabeth put that, we all derive from the collective consciousness. You know, I had come to an understanding many years ago that we're all actually channeling ourselves. You know, yes, we have our DNA and we have our personalities, and we were, you know, raised by families that gave us a lot of values. But, you know, if you look at cultures around the world, as we were evolving as a species, you see that, you know, the wheel developed on different continents when long before shipping was ever, you know, or boating was ever a thing. Language started developing at the same time, and there's something to do with DNA, but it's also because all of the things that we think and that we transform, so transformation is a huge buzzword right now, and all of the understandings that we come to are actually uploaded into consciousness, into our collective consciousness, and are there for everyone on the planet to download, just as the things that they're coming to understand are there for us as well. And that's how we evolve. You know, it's an important component of conscious evolution. And that's how I define consciousness.
Awesome. That's great because, you know, there's so many different descriptions of these words. And so I think for your show, it's really important that we understand how you each are defining what you're bringing forward. And so that people understand what you're talking about. So it's great. It's awesome.
It's wonderful that you asked that question. I don't know that I've actually been asked that before. I did write a lot about it in my books, but it is, you know, it is wonderful to sort of define, you know, from each of us, since hopefully we all have, you know, a little bit of a different perspective, and that makes up the collective consciousness. But to sort of break it down and make it, you know, digestible and really easy for, you know, people to you know, come in and assimilate and be a part of.
Right. It is a big question. Even my husband says, what really is consciousness? And I've had Jesus tell me that consciousness is a state of being. It's a state of mind, and it's awareness, and it's wisdom. It is it's a oneness. It's the only thing that really exists. It's love. So yeah.
Great definition too.
Yeah. So next I'm going to talk about Mira Rubin. Mira is co-founder of the Sustainability Now podcast and originator of the signature core connection process. Evolving from her training in NLP, hypnosis, and applied kinesiology, the core connection work serves as the foundation of Mira's invitational coaching program and affects profound, rapid, and lasting change from the inside out. Her clients experience foundational shifts of being that result in expansive new opportunities and accomplishments, an expanded experience of freedom and empowered stewardship of their lives. Mira's mission through Sustainability Now is to mainstream sustainable practices globally. The podcast shares hope and sustainability tools and practices related to food, energy, housing, waste, water, health, economics, and consciousness. Consciousness being key. Both educator and artist, Mira spent the 18 years prior to the podcast teaching design and development of interactive e-learning, print and web content for her training center, Mira Images Incorporated. During that time, she did technical writing, spoke at multiple professional conferences, and authored 2 highly acclaimed texts. Wow, Mira. And you're also on Enlightened World Network
Right.
with your show, The Core Connection.
Yes. Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness, what an amazing bio.
I like to say I have a checkered past, a wide variety.
Yes, you do. And I've also been on the other side of using your core technology, your program, and it worked beautifully. So I'm just putting that out there, is that I was, it was a lovely experience, and it created very wonderful changes inside myself. So
Thank
I'm
you
very
for that.
grateful to that.
Thank
So
you.
Mira, how does all of this experience now fit into the broader edge, and what's your vision for this show?
Well, I want to dovetail on what Sheila said, because so much of what you're talking about, Sheila, is where I operate from. My greatest passion in life has been an exploration of consciousness and what that is. And I love that you asked for a definition of that, because I've noticed lately that my understanding of consciousness has expanded to recognize that we are all here part on this planet, and most likely in this universe, as part of a global organism that has its own intelligence and its own presence. And that's what consciousness is, whatever the essence is of that presence and that information and life force that is animating all of these magnificent parts and pieces. That's consciousness. And I do come from a very long spiritual quest in my life, and I no longer, it's interesting, I no longer identify with calling myself a seeker, which is a wonderful place to be, to just be an experiencer instead of a seeker. I am something of a philosopher by nature in terms of looking at the deeper thoughts and what inspired me about connecting with these amazing women. And Ruth, I just have to say thank you for creating the platform that enables this kind of connection to begin with, and a vehicle to express it in the world. Amazing. But the thing that connected me so deeply with them was the ability to have real philosophical, deep conversations about the nature of the universe and the nature of being and life and how we express in the world. And for me, the vision for this program is absolutely to support people in their fullest expression, their fullest, most authentic expression. That's really the foundation intention of what I do with Core Connection, with the work, and with my podcast, with the work, and even with sustainability now, because I believe that as we rise into our full and authentic expression, that the world will become a magical place, that we all came here to fulfill a purpose, that supporting people in identifying and living into that purpose is a big part of my purpose. And I see that as a big part of the purpose of this show as well. And to make the invisible visible, because I think that there's so much that is unseen, unrecognized in the mechanics of our culture, in the mechanics of our world, that when exposed, then we have choice. And I am all about empowering people to choose their lives, to choose their responses to experience, to choose their personal evolution. So that's where I'm coming from.
Oh,
I'm
that's
so excited to have playmates in
uh-huh.
this and to be able to invite the rest of the world to join us.
I totally understand what you mean. Totally. Oh my goodness. That's a beautiful vision. And it is so true that so much is really invisible. Um, and it's not really invisible. It's what do they used to call that? The pink elephant in the living room, right?
It's like the emperor with no clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so peeling away at those layers of programming and what is it that you see? What is your perception? What are you viewing? What lens are you viewing it from? They're all such beautiful concepts to share with people, that you can think about something in so many different ways and really talk about the pink elephant.
Exactly. Oh, we
Yeah.
could have called it the pink elephant.
It's a term that we use a lot in mental health therapy. So that's where we talked about the family. So yeah, the pink elephant. So that's awesome. That is so great. So I'm going to move on to Teri Angel. Last but certainly not least, one of my soul sisters. Teri Angel is a happiness coach, energy healer, author, spiritual teacher and mentor, and a motivational speaker. She has seen, heard, and communicated with angels and spirit guides for her entire lifetime and channels their messages in angel circles groups as well as with private clients. Teri has several we call them vodcasts now, offerings online, including Gratitude Happy Hour, Daily Coffee and Conversation, as well as The Broader Edge, which are all syndicated on Enlightened World Network and simultaneously broadcasted onto YouTube. She also leads a guided meditation weekly online, a monthly healing circle, and is a host on Angel Heart Radio with her show called Speaking with the Angels. Teri has authored 6 books and has been published in 2 international bestseller anthologies. She is also an avid blogger whose blogs have been published internationally. And she is starting another show tomorrow, I believe. Do you want to share that with people?
I would love to share that with people. And thank you, Deb, for the introduction. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today. Yes, our newest offering from Enlightened World Network, it's actually going to be on EWN, Enlightened Living page, and it's going to be angel speakers in Espanol.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, we are too. And I would like you to share how all of your experience comes into your role for the Broader Edge and the vision that you have too.
Sure. Well, I'm bringing experience, a life of experience in many different facets. Last year, I went through something really traumatic, and every time I've gone through one of these struggles, I've questioned what's going on, what's this life all about, what's the purpose. And I think all of us tend to do that when something comes up that's really big. We look at, oh boy, what's this all about, and what am I supposed to do with it? And the angels really confirmed that I'm to work with people on that emotional level. And I've known this for years, helping people to explore the emotions that come up in life, and especially when you have a big challenge. So that is where I go lately with everything, is to that emotional aspect and what can we bring forward to help people. And I think this show is going to bring a lot of that forward. People are recently being faced with this struggle and this challenge of everything changing. The whole world has changed, and it has affected us on many levels, especially in our root chakra. in our safety and our security. And how do we react to that? We either fight or flight, right? And so a lot of people are flighting into the panic, into the fear. So this is going to be an opportunity to discuss, I think, some ways that we can look at things and look at our life in a broader way and not be so focused on what's happening, with the stuff that we're running from, the stuff that we're hiding from, and that we sometimes don't want to deal with. So I think this is going to open up a lot of conversation for people about life events and how we deal with things, and looking at that new world that we're going into, that we're creating. And I love all of the experience that everybody in this group is bringing to this. It's going to be really varied, I think, in our opinions, I think our belief systems pretty much jive from what our discussions have been. We all believe in that consciousness, and that we are part of adding to the collective consciousness. And that's what I see. The more we can lift a vibration, the more we can help people to see that they matter, their frequency matters, their energy that they put into it matters. And that's where I come from. Totally just trying to bring out the best in everybody and letting them see that they're important. Their voice needs to be heard. And that's what this is. It's giving a voice to some of these questions that are just left sitting there. Like, what is this all about? So I'm excited about the show. I'm excited about being a part of Enlightened World Network. We've been working very closely for a while now, and creating and co-creating. And this is just another beautiful, beautiful offering that's coming out of that. And I'm looking forward to so many discussions, and we will have topics that we're all going to be interacting about and putting our 2 cents worth in, and seeing where that conversation leads.
That's beautiful. I'm looking forward to listening for sure. And I really think it's important that there is an emotional component, because that's how you connect with people. It needs to be heart-centered. You need to find that thing that's going to connect your show, that people, and you need to connect heart to heart. So I know myself, just in trying to kind of talk about stuff without having a heart connection, you don't reach people. So the emotional part of it is very important, because people are looking for that connection. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been shown very clearly in my morning show. It's like they're looking for somebody to see them. And that's what's been missing with a lot of talk shows, a lot of vodcasts and podcasts, is we're not seeing the people that we want to listen to us. We want them to listen, but we have to see them first. We have to acknowledge them and to ask the questions, how are you? How are you handling things? What's coming up for you during this time? And that comes out really, really strongly in the morning show that I do, called Coffee and Conversation.
Yes, it does. It's good. This is going to be an awesome show. Ruth, I know that you have to pop off. Is there something that you'd like to share before you go?
I would love to. I look at all 5 of you, honestly, Deb, you included in this, and I see so much of what you each bring to the table. And I'm so proud and so excited for each one of you 5. And I can hear someone else saying, I don't have anything to share, or I have something to share, but why would people listen to me? And I really do believe that all we can bring to the table is those experiences that we've had. And that means stepping into your own authenticity. And it's your authenticity that gives you credibility. And I look at Mira, and Mira is the only one that can do Mira. And Liz is the only one that can do Liz. And Sheila, thank God there's a you, because the world needs you. And Teri, you are so amazing. And so to anyone who's thinking that they would want to have a show, have a podcast, or share themselves with the world, I would say to you, own your own authenticity. And that is going to bring you the credibility that you feel you need to step out onto this platform. I could not be prouder of all 5 of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. That's beautiful. And it's so true. I mean, we talked about this last night, is that it works both ways, right? You have to be your authentic self to be credible, and your
Credibility.
your credibility comes from your authenticity. It works both ways. So it is a beautiful way to shine, and that's how you become who you all have become, is being your authentic self, following your passion and your purpose. Yeah. Thank you, Ruth. And
Thank you, Ruth.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
all that you do, Ruth. Because you are amazing in itself.
Thanks, Deb.
You are a gift. You are a gift to all of us.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So much love to y'all. I'm going to go put on another show.
Enjoy.
Thanks.
So how about it dovetails into this great question that I was asking, is other people that might be watching, women, men, I think this falls into maybe even a more of a female type of issue of feeling not worthy, or who's going to listen to me? Who cares about what I have to say? Or how do I step into this leadership? How do I network and work with other strong women and who are intelligent and purposeful and driven heart-centered? And how do I get there? And talk about, through your own connections, with whether it's this show or other networking that you did with other collaborations, of how it helps you grow. What does it trigger inside of you? How did you keep moving forward so that they have a way to conceptualize their own moving forward? So whoever wants to start.
I would love to start.
Okay.
I have found that the thing that has allowed me to do this is not chasing anything, but identifying my purpose, something that I'm committed to that's bigger than me. And I created a vision statement several years back that made and still makes my spine tingle. And I use it as a mantra, and it has moved me into opportunity. And I keep saying yes. And what I notice is that having an intention that is bigger than me allows me to not focus on when I stumble and look like a fool. It allows me to get up again. It allows me to speak out to a bigger intention. And keeping that perspective, having a vision that makes you come alive, and stepping into it with a whole heart has made all the difference. And then circumstances have presented themselves to me. And because your mission, when you make your mission and vision big enough, and that's what I spend my time with my people, is when you do that, it will call you forward. It will call you to rise to meet it. And what you just keep doing is connecting in your heart to that, the intensity of that vision, and you move forward. And the other thing is that we all came here with a unique purpose. So I've done a lot of training. I've had a lifetime of personal development, and I've also had lots of coaching courses that I've taken. And one of my mentors, I love this, he says, let your freak flag fly. And I'm going to attribute that. That's to Ryan Eliason, who is a visionary entrepreneurship mentor, guru. And yeah, so find that freak flag, dust it off, and fly that thing. And that's what's going to take you to a life that is meaningful and rewarding.
Beautiful, beautiful. But I also do know that being in networking with other people, I have had so many challenges of things that need to be cleared out inside of myself, triggers and struggles that I had to look at because of being in an intimate setting with other people, of trying to see myself. It is all really seeing all parts of yourself that need to come to the surface, and everyone in a group is a reflection of you. So I've had people tell me that they don't want to do that kind of soul work.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid to do that soul work of being in a intimate group of people and not want to face their demons.
The path of purpose is not for the faint of heart. It's a hero's journey.
Mm-hmm.
I have a booklet, an ebook that I wrote, and there's a line in there. It'll take you as coal and leave you as diamond.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to purge and bring up every aspect of your life that isn't working or that doesn't serve your optimal expression.
Mm-hmm. So I think as we keep going and you share your thoughts, is what do you do? Like, how have you overcome those things as they happen? Because this is the emotional component we want to bring to knowing that, you know, you just don't land here without growth happening.
Yeah.
I feel that it's all about resonance, you know, in the world. And, you know, every person is in a unique place on their path. So that, you know, as you find those that you resonate with, those are the ones that you're going to network with. And what you're resonating to is your authenticity. Your authenticity is your purpose. And so, you know, I think, you know, it may be unrealistic to want to or to seek to network with everyone, you know, with the masses. But remembering that people are going to resonate with different parts of your story, of your offerings, just the way that you do with them. And when you let resonance guide you, people coalesce, you know, they come together in little, you know, pockets and bundles and little groups, you know, like this group came together. You end up finding each other as long as you step forward and you trust the process, and that you trust yourself. You know, you don't judge yourself. You don't judge what your purpose is, and you don't judge your own authenticity. Let it be what it is, especially in this global world of internet. I mean, think about how it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We were mostly relegated to finding who we resonated with in our little towns. I grew up in a small town. Right. But now you have the entire world. And there are people everywhere who want what you're offering, just as you will resonate with what they're offering too. It's a big world, and you know, just step into it.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Sheila. And who wants to go next?
I would be happy to add on to that. A couple of things. One thing I would say is, you know, when you're looking for your purpose or looking to step out, it doesn't have to be on a podcast. So really you're looking for growth and transformation in whatever way you are meant to, you know, go down that path. And I think acknowledging that it is going to be challenging from the beginning. Know what you're moving toward, but don't be afraid of that. So you are going to step outside your comfort zone, and you are going to face that inner glass ceiling, whatever is etched on that. And that's a really good question to ask yourself when you're deep in meditation or in thought. What is etched on my inner glass ceiling? Mm-hmm. When I did that, I found out, and had no idea, but through a process, I found out what was up there was, you're not good enough. And that was this was late in life to realize that, and think that's been hanging over me my entire life. And I have a choice of either living with that glass ceiling or shattering it. And I felt like there's a great quote by Anais Nin, I think it is, which says, I have it up here, and then the day came when the pain to remain closed in a tight bud became more than the pain to blossom. And I think that's exactly what happens at some point in our lives. It can happen in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, is you realized I can either stay in this bud and it's comfortable and it's safe here, or I can choose to be fully alive, which means I'm going to step outside my comfort zone. I'm going to face the shadows, the demons, whatever you want to call them. But when I emerge on the other side of fear is freedom. And that's where, if you get to that point where you realize, I would rather live in freedom regardless of the path to get there, and know that I'm going to fail, and I'm going to fail forward, and know that I'm going to fall down 7 times, but I'm going to get up 8. Whatever it is that you need to remind yourself, do it. Because when you're on your deathbed, when you're in your 80s and you're looking back at your life, what are you going to regret? Is it going to be the times that you failed and maybe even embarrassed yourself, or sitting back and not being fully yourself? You came here for a purpose. Your soul wants to grow. Figure out why you're here and do it. And don't think any of us, the 5 that are sitting here, know exactly what we're doing or have all the answers or are fully confident all the time. But it is really nice to find a group of others who are willing to walk that path with you. And that's been the gift of this group. So we hope you'll join us and walk this path together.
Oh, beautifully said. Beautifully said. How do we embrace life? Embrace the fullness of yourself. And that takes some growth. And unless you're willing to put your toe in the water,
yep,
you don't know how to do that.
Yep.
Beautifully said. And Teri.
Yes. Wow. I love all of these answers that you all have given. Yeah, I've been broadcasting either online or on the radio for about 6 years now. And I never set out to do any of the shows that I'm doing. I never sat down and said, oh, I think I'm going to do this show. I think I'm going to do that. It has always been an intuitive knowing that I'm supposed to connect with another person. I'm supposed to be in this group of ladies. I'm supposed to do. And it's that inner guidance that brings you to that point of you just know that it's time. And I want to talk about the very first time that I did my first radio show. It was on Blog Talk Radio. And I kept hearing the message, I'm supposed to do this. And I'm like, really? And I'm talking to my angels. I argue with my angels. I don't know if anybody else does. But I'm like, really? I don't know anything about broadcasting. I know nothing about radio for sure. What are you talking about? I this just doesn't seem like it's the right message I'm supposed to be getting. So I finally gave in. I listened. I created the show, and it sat there. It sat there for a whole month after I created it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. You're going to have to show me here what to do. And so eventually I connected with another person, and her and I did the very first radio show that I had done, not knowing a thing about what we were doing. And we went on. I've never heard so much laughter over a radio broadcast. We were laughing at ourselves. We were laughing at not knowing.
Yeah.
Just relaxing into, we know we're supposed to do this. We don't know how. And when you drop the how, you get ready for the wow. So just if you're feeling a tug, that's what I want to say to you. If you're feeling that nudge, listen. Your inner guidance is going to take you where you need to be. My inner guidance took me to connect with these three ladies that are sitting right here, Mira, Sheila, Elisabeth. And it wasn't to do a broadcast, right, ladies? We connected for a whole different reason. And then here it is, the broader edge. So you never know where that nudge is going to take you, but you'll know that it's there. You'll know that something bigger than you is already planning, already ahead of you, saying this is where we're trying to show you to be. You know, just listen, just open up and listen. And is it scary? Yeah, it can be. You know, the unknown is what's scary. It's like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to do. But when we lose that and just say our yes, your yes is your commitment. So when you're hearing the nudge, you're hearing that little voice that says, go do a radio show, go do a broadcast. Don't just automatically say, no, I don't know how to do that. Say, show me. Yes, I'll do what you want. Show me. And that's what I did. And that's how I started 6 years ago. Just show me, because I don't have a clue. And I did that broadcast, and it was one of my favorite times in my life, was sitting with this person and laughter. And finally we figured out how to even bring somebody on the phone with us to talk to them over the radio. It was a learning process, but it was something that I treasure. And so don't miss out on life's treasures because you're afraid you don't know something. You'll be shown. If your passion is there and you say your yes, it's going to show up for you.
That's awesome,
Deb,
Teri.
you brought up something about the emotional barriers that people encounter, and I think that is where people stop. I've been hearing a lot recently of people saying, who am I to dream that big?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the whole Marianne Williamson quote that's so famous, but the answer is, who are you not to? The world needs you now. Now more than ever. Now, this minute in all of human history, more than ever. And you chose to be here for this time, to be who you are. So as far as the emotional aspect, there are all kinds of wonderful, wonderful supports to help move through those challenges, and know that that your mission, your purpose, the process is the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The process of the evolution is the purpose as much as the outcome. It's not about an end point. It's about living and embracing life. So one of the greatest tools that's for self-care that I'm aware of is tapping, emotional freedom technique. And you can find that information all over the web, but it is so powerful as a personal care technique. And there are all kinds of people and light workers and healers all over Enlightened World Network that can offer support in moving through the barriers and blockages that you will encounter. And know that each one of them is a gift. It is a gift to give to yourself, to move to the next place in your evolution. And that's what you came here for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is the evolution of you. All of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, talking about the evolution of the human species. It is the evolution of you. You have your own individual evolution as we go along this world's evolution, right?
Yeah. And Deb, I know we're running out of time, but I just want to share, because this came up a little earlier about who wants to listen to me? Who am I to even get on here and say anything? And I used to be in that mindset. I used to think, what I say doesn't, it doesn't matter, does it? I'm just one little person. Is what I have to offer important in the grand scheme of things? And I felt that way until I learned about HeartMath Institute and the fact that everything we put out, our thoughts, our words, our feelings, everything impacts the whole, that whole collective consciousness. So it does matter. We matter. Each person matters. So if you're sitting there thinking, you know, what do I have to offer? I'm just me. Just turn that around, pivot away from that thought, and realize that you do matter. Whatever you say, whatever you feel, it does impact the collective. So if you have that burning thing inside of you and you know that it's just there ready to come out, that you think nobody's going to listen to you, who's going to listen to me? Just realize we need your voice. Your voice is important. Your words are important. So take that to heart, because you matter. Just like it says behind you, Deb.
Yes.
Matter in the world.
There it is.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you do matter. And these are all such inspiring, empowering words from all of you. When I was working with a client years ago, and this is when I just woke up, and I was saying that I talk to God, that God talks to me and tells me things. And he said, who the hell do you think you are? Now, if that's not a flattener,
Right.
I you know, like, I was like, whoa, you know, I'm being brave just even sharing that information with you.
Yep.
And who the hell do you think you are? And I just said, I'm no different than you. God talks to you too. You're just not listening. Oh gosh. So, you know,
Deb, I love this comment from one of our listeners, Erin, and she says, what if Einstein had put his pen and paper away?
Oh my goodness.
What
a loss.
Deals with that.
What a loss. What a loss. So everybody is important. And I think showing leadership here is important in your show, and leadership in consciousness, leadership in stepping out of yourself, leadership in keep moving towards your purpose regardless of what might be the voices you hear that might be keeping you back. You just keep moving forward and trying to ignore those voices, even if you're hearing them as you keep going along. I hear those voices still, and I'm like, not today. We're not listening to that today. We're just going to show up and do what we need to do. I have one last question. Like, what are the topics that we can look forward to on the Broader Edge?
I don't know that we've determined specifics, but we have a bunch of ideas. Yes, ladies?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we want to focus on what's relevant today. So it is going to be timely. But I think some of the themes that you've already heard from each of us, kind of our specialty areas. So consciousness is kind of our umbrella theme, and evolving consciousness, the rise of the divine feminine, new human. And then we'd love to get into social impact topics, so environmental sustainability and women and girls issues, those type of things.
Social responsibility.
Social impact, emotions and love and compassion and all the things that define, the rise of the divine feminine, the nurturing, the compassion, new leadership, we have the opportunity to bring forth. So what else?
Transformation. Absolutely. And choice, what we're creating, how we look at and take action in the new world that we're generating. So personal responsibility.
I think inner spirituality, and this is not about one religion. This is about the interconnectedness of each of us and our spiritual foundations and how that informs our lives and our paths.
We might even be bold enough to get into politics in some respect. Not partisan politics.
Partisan, not divisive, but
right.
It's hard to avoid that.
We want to play. We want to have fun.
Yeah.
Tackle the real questions.
Silly, sassy, and spunky conversation. Described it.
There you go.
Well, that's awesome. And what a need for it now to step out into a new world, because
Yeah.
it is a new world. It's a new you.
Yep.
For everybody, it is a new you. And to have this show to talk about things in a different way than people are used to is pushing people out of the box to grow, to expand their consciousness and understand that they're a part of the world rather than just a little self. So I look forward to listening to your shows.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, Deb.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's been my pleasure to do this today. Why don't you each take a few seconds to tell people how to connect with you?
Well, you can go to SheilaCash.com, sign up for the contact form for notifications of all that's happening, or email me at Sheila@SheilaCash.com. And I'm also on Facebook and Twitter.
And you can find me through my website, yourcore, C-O-R-E, connection.com, or sustainabilitynow.global instead of .com. And you can get all my contact info if you text the word Mira, M-I-R-A, to the phone number 64600.
And my website is AWEPartners, AWEPartners.com. And I do have a newsletter sign up. So if you're interested in all things social impact, please go ahead and sign up there. And then I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn.
And I'm on angelspeakers.com. There's a contact form there, and it will go right to my email. And I'm on Facebook, Teri Angel. Look me up.
That's awesome. It's been such a gift to have all of you here today. And I'm so glad that you are all stepping into your purposes and making this a better world, creating a better world, inspiring others to create a better world, a world of unity and peace and love.
Yes.
That everybody is prosperous. Yeah.
Thank you. Beautiful.
This has been such a gift, Deb. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's nice that I get to spend time with you. I don't always get to see everybody. So this is a lovely way to do that. Now you'll be able to catch this replay if you want to watch it again, and you can watch it on Enlightened World Network on Facebook or Angel Heart Radio on their Facebook page. And it will also be on both of their YouTubes, including mine, under Debbie Ann Goldberg. So when in doubt, never underestimate the power of prayer. You are being listened to and heard throughout the universe, and it always responds with infinite and eternal love. Remember to go inside and listen to the words whispers of heaven. God bless you, and have an absolutely wonderful day.
How much you matter in the world, and to let you know that we appreciate who you are in the world. You can check out who's on, when we're on, and who our guests are at angelheartradio.com. Everything is there. It's all just one click away. Angel Heart Radio programs are powerful tools to help you in your life and your life experience. They are not intended, nor should they, be used to replace your medical or legal advice. Powered by love, Angel Heart Radio is brought to you by AngelLight777.com. The views and opinions expressed by Angel Heart Radio hosts, guests, co-hosts and associates should not be construed as advice from Angel Heart Radio.